While the tactics are becoming as clear as day, the outcome of Trump tariffs is an absolute utter shambles. Now he has once again just backtracked and given a reprieve to the 25% car tariffs he applied to Canada and Mexico, then withdrew, then reapplied. Not a word yet on China. Note the word reprieve, not cancellation. They're due to be reapplied once again in 30 days' time. My head is spinning. I'm Dave, this is Dave Takes It On. We're getting a bit of a pattern here that dates back to when he began his successful career as a property developer with a $1 million loan from his father. Now hold on, while some might see this as me dabbling directly in politics, it is in fact just the background as to why he's using tariffs today which directly affect the EV industry. So bear with me, please, all will be made clear this is an EV video. Well, the $1 million loan turned out to be a $430 million tax fraud scheme for his father, but it gave Trump Jr., now Trump Sr., the leverage he needed to succeed in business. It gave him the money to be able to bully the poorer, weaker companies he was employing into working for peanuts or sometimes nothing at all. He suddenly had the very real threat of, I am a billionaire and I will take you to court and sue you for every cent you have and destroy you unless you do what I say. The art of the deal in action. Many small companies simply could not afford to fight back and just gave in. Trump had the power. So if we fast forward to today, he finds that although he is the president of the United States and the most powerful man in the world, he cannot use that tactic. He cannot sue his way to success because many other countries can and will fight back legally. They are as big as he is legally, some even bigger legally. And then there's also international law, and that could prove to be much bigger than even Trump. He cannot successfully threaten that. Even his own Supreme Court, stacked with his own judges, has its own limits and cannot be relied on absolutely. They have sometimes, rarely, issued orders directly against him, hence he is a convicted felon. But tariffs are a very different matter. First, he can just apply them with the stroke of a pen, a presidential executive order. And if he has to make up an excuse, he just does it. He is the president. Nobody will stop him. Fentanyl coming into the USA from Canada represents less than 1% of the total coming into the USA, but it still comes in, so it's still a legally valid excuse. And the reasons he gives do not need to make sense. Just like his previous legal challenges. If he says it and nobody challenges him, it's now legal. So tariffs are quick and easy. He can find reasons really easily and quickly and pass a presidential executive order. But with tariffs, there the similarity with threats to sue ends because the second difference is the huge one, and that is consequential losses. If Trump bullies a small firm into not pursuing a genuine outstanding invoice for work it has done, Trump gains and the company loses. Consequential losses are limited mainly to the losses that one company might suffer. It might go bust, throwing tens, possibly hundreds of employees out of work. Or it might be able to absorb the losses, then continue slightly reduced capacity. The losses are restricted effectively to that one company and to a lesser degree to any directly linked to it. And he can repeat that threat to numerous companies, and there are always more companies to employ and abuse. Seemingly endless choice. Well, with tariffs against an industry or especially against a country, the exact opposite is true. The consequential losses are staggering, in fact unlimited, and often bounce back on the instigator manyfold. See, industry needs long-term security to succeed. Let's say you invent a product today. It's probably going to take many years, many millions of pounds or dollars, first to get it to a finished product ready to sell. It's then going to take a period of time to ramp it up into mass production, where the cost per item will begin to fall and it actually becomes profitable. And finally, it takes time to recoup the initial huge investment you made in those steps and then break out into an overall profit. That initial huge investment will undoubtedly have involved loans, venture capitalists, investment funds, and the like. Now, if at any stage the future of the product you invented becomes seriously in doubt, the entire project just collapses. And this is globalism at work. See, a single American invented product might involve, let's say, electronic components from Taiwan, chemicals that are found abundantly in China, aluminium sourced in Canada, steel fabricated in Mexico using machinery that's manufactured in Europe, operated by AI developed in the UK, and finally assembled in a factory in Kentucky, US of A. If tariffs set off a worldwide trade war that alienates the USA and sets country against each other, then that product will at best just be put on hold. At worst, any funding promised will simply be withdrawn. Factories will not be built, contracts will not be signed. These are consequential losses on a global scale, and these, I believe, are way beyond the ability of Trump to fully understand when he uses tariffs as a simple bargaining tool or leverage in his art of the deal. For the first time, his art of the deal is not working. In fact, it's coming round to bite him in the rear. Every time he thinks up a new tariff that makes sense to him, he applies it, and all of a sudden a line of US CEOs and business leaders and union leaders and banks and financial experts forms outside his White House telling him, please, please don't follow through with this. It'll finish off the economy, the company, the Dow Jones, or whatever it is. And unfortunately, I believe that Trump doesn't believe them. The art of the deal for him has always worked in the past. It has to work now. And tariffs are the ultimate weapon. Well, in fact, the only weapon he has in his arsenal. With it, he can threaten, well, not only businesses, but countries, even continents. I'm sure he is still of the opinion they are going to work. It's just going to take time. Meanwhile, the industry leaders are now in full panic mode. They are no longer investing in factories as they no longer have any guarantees that their customers, many of them previously Canadians, Europeans, Mexicans, will buy anything at all from them. They're already buckling down, battening the hatches for a real storm on the horizon where they have fewer and fewer customers than ever. And they have no idea what Trump will do in response. A 30-day reprieve just announced is absolutely the worst thing he can do for business. It's neither one thing or another. It is just, I'll let you know in 30 days. Could be this, could be that. Good news, bad news. I'll let you know in a month. Depends how I feel on the day. Well, meanwhile, the stock markets also see this uncertainty. They saw the arrival of Trump initially as a positive, and the markets rose dramatically in the first few weeks. But then they quickly peaked, and now they've taken a huge turn for the worse, heading down below where they started, and the trend is still downwards. They too have no idea what's going to happen, so they just downvalue all the companies that might possibly be affected. Car companies are the obvious first step, but so too are agricultural companies and steel companies and refineries and manufacturers and exporters and importers. And most people forget that although Trump announced these tariffs on January the 20th on inauguration, not everyone took him seriously. Many believed it was just art of the deal, negotiating tactics. It was only on the 1st of February that he signed the executive order, and that they happened on February the 4th. Now, a down valuation of a stock or share simply means that the markets, that's the investors, see nothing in the immediate future or sometimes the medium future that suggests this company is going to do anything that would suggest success or growth or increased profitability. It is in effect a warning signal. Things are not looking that good. Well, then the Fed joined in, the Federal Reserve, that's the US equivalent of the Bank of England, and tells us that when Trump took over, they were forecasting that the economy was likely to grow. They'd forecast that Q1 of 2025, we're 2 months into that now, would see a period of growth. Now, this is just a forecast, and they are notorious for being wrong on occasions, but it is a useful guide nonetheless. Now they're saying Q1 is much more likely to actually enter a recession, and that is quite a change in just 2 months. Also, we saw several large interest rate cuts. You see, the Fed kept interest rates high last year to beat inflation in 2024, much to the annoyance of many. But finally, in September, there was a massive 0.5 percentage point drop in interest rates, followed by 2 more 0.25 percentage cuts in November and December. Now the talk is once again of interest rate rises. It is a stark contrast to reports from just a few weeks ago, which were largely very positive. See, in a strange, bizarre way, a here it is, like it or lump it tariff approach would probably be more successful for industry. At least they would know exactly where they were and could then plan accordingly. It is the uncertainty, this, well, here it is, oh no, it's a 30-day suspension, oh no, it's back on, no it isn't, it's suspended again. That's the killer. If Europe and Canada and China knew that 25% tariffs were in place for the next 4 years, they could consider the practicality of building or converting factories in America, or ignoring the American market altogether and building new factories in Europe or Canada, or forming new alliances to create a new market altogether to replace it, like the UK did with the Japanese back in the 80s and 90s. If the uncertainty continues, then everyone's going to suffer. ICE, EVs, hybrids, along with steel, aluminium, construction, and just about every other industry you can think of. And that is definitely not what any of us want. It will benefit none of us. Now, while some will survive it better than others, well, the mega rich, for example, even they will see their obscene wealth severely reduced. Poor dears. They're not going to like that, are they? Well, for the benefit of everyone, let's not go there. I'm Dave.